HiSec Buyback offers a 90% JITA anywhere in HiSec. Simply go to hisec.evebuyback.com, appraise your items, create a contract, and get paid quickly.
You're live.
Welcome to Talking Stations. Today's Wednesday, November 24th. I'm your host, Shen, alongside with our engineer / panelist, Nick Bison.
Hey, good afternoon, evening, everybody.
Yeah, so today is a Wednesday show, and of course, we're going to start with our battle report or our war update. So first thing first, we're going to start with some fights down south as usual. That's the war between RC versus Fire. And the first one I'm going to look at is a battle happened in Esoteria in the system of X-Tac-7. So from the battle report, we can see this happened in at the very top, or the very north part about in Esoteria. Yeah, it's right there, right to the gate in Phythopolis. And I believe this was over a structure timer, and both sides formed. So you can look at the battle report. On the left side, we have Farah and friends, which is basically Stain people, alongside with Fire Coalition. So the Stain Stain people, they brought in their Typhoon fleet, their Typhoon doctrines, alongside this armor tanks. So you see those Dominations are there for those armor tanks, and some Battlegrounds as well. And Fire brought in their Munion fleet, so that's Munions and Scimitars. And on the right side, we're seeing Tengus from PIBC and RMC, that's Redmond's coalition, and alongside with RC, that's Wrecking Crew, with their Serb fleet. So overall, I think the score was about 2-1. So on the left side, the Fire and Stain won the score. About the really at the end of the day, the objective, I'm not too sure about it. I have to look into it to get the exact detail about that, but this is a battle report that we can pull off from here. Yeah, so this still suggests that war between RC and Fire not only happening in their own space, but it's also happening in their ally space as well. So we know that Esoteria's place of PIBC. So PIBC is a coalition that lives in here, and PIBC is friends with RC, and therefore that's where the allyships comes in.
Would you call this something like, trying to force the gate, or was it just you said you think it might have been over a structure timer of some type?
I think it's over a structure timer, yeah. But yeah, so I mean, it makes sense to some degree, right? You're seeing like a gate. It's kind of like a regional gate, right? It's very, very big. If you look at it on the Eve map, it's like across a long distance, and I guess to some degree it makes sense for Fire to be able to anchor some sort of structure, or PIBC defending some sort of structure that's being hit by Fire. It's very accessible, right? So it's only a few jumps from XX south.
Yeah, and it looks like, I just popped over to the Phythopolis side, and it looks like AOM has a foothold in that first TR-07. So I don't know if they're trying to push that way or just defending it.
Yeah, it's like I mean, if you look at the rest of Phythopolis, they're definitely pushing hard right now in Phythopolis. So you can see a good part of Phythopolis already under control by XX, and then they're pushing hard down in the south as well. So I guess it makes sense to a large degree that they're going to try to push that constellation as well, right there, right beside Esoteria. Yeah.
Yeah, right there where Vindy's at. So, yep.
Exactly, and not far from here, we're seeing a gate system to Impasse. So Impasse is where our next battle happened, or the next battle we're going to talk about happened. So you can pull up the battle report.
Yeah, I don't have that one. I've got the other battle report I've got is the Tenerife's one.
Yeah, it's Tenerife's one. Let's talk about this one first. So this happened in 3L3N in Tenerife's. So from here we can see so there are 3 sites on there. So on the very left is basically the X papillances, right? You're seeing Fire Coalition plus Test plus Frat, right? All those people who used to fight on the same side in the Pappy War, or the big war. And in the middle is the right side that we're seeing from the last battle report, which is basically RMC, RC, and PIBC, right? And on the very right is Imperium, all right? So led by Initiative in this time, and in terms of numbers, and then Gunstorm, and then the rest of their coalition. So overall, in terms of it's very balanced if you count the RC, PIBC, and RMC side together with Imperium, right? So one side losing 10 bill plus the 22 is about 32-ish, and then Fire and so basically the Pappy side lost about 33. So 32 versus 33 is very even. And we can look at and the numbers as well, right? So on the left side, they brought about 350 people, and combined together, both sides from the Imperium and the many coalition side, it's together about 400, right? So a bit of number advantage, I would say, just maybe a bit more people. But when he's coordinating those 2 blocks of people together, it's kind of hard. So it kind of makes sense to have similar amount of ISK lost from all sides.
Well, I noticed more than once in the other fight and on this one, you refer to them as PIBC. Is they actually use that name here? I thought that was just Serenity side, or is that bleeding over now?
Well, that's like the name of the coalition, to be honest. So it's not really like a Lion's name. It's more like a coalition name.
Okay, all right. The other thing I noticed is, once again, this is right on the regional gate. So is where the battles, it seemed, these last 2 have taken place. So that's always, to me, a teller, kind of watch what they're doing. If you see something happening deep in, it's usually harassment. But pushing gates and pushing regionals, well, that might get serious fast.
Yep. So that one is the one. I mean, regional gates with different ones may look differently, right? So the regional gate between Paragon Soul and Esoteria, for example, they're not very big, right? Because they somewhat belong to the same region of space, right? But some others, for example, the one between Fitzabolis down south, between Fitzabolis and Esoteria, that one's a really long one, really big one. Because that one you require to gate a super or gate a capital in order to jump to somewhere else, right? That's where we can see different places where people need to move their caps or move their fleet, needs to coordinate, and then to make sure it's safe or not, right? If you just go through a gate and you see 200 people on your face, you gotta fight a hard battle right there.
Oh yeah, pushing the regional, especially the long jumps where you literally can't jump a cap through. A cap can't jump. It has to use that gate. That adds a whole new dynamic to how you're going to fight that.
Yeah, I mean, not only about caps, but subcaps, right? So sometimes, or a lot of times, if the fight is happening in your own space, you can have Titans on standby, right? And then just basically bridge your entire fleet to the designated area, right? So you can, let's say, sometimes do a surprise attack or just drop on people alongside with your capital fleet. But with the regional with the regional gate that's as big as the one between Esoteria and Fitzabolis, it's very hard to do that, or sometimes it's almost impossible to drop across regions like that.
Yeah.
So we have a battle report.
There we go. Back to it.
Yeah. So this is So this is a battle report. If we're scrolling down, we can see different doctrines that basically people are bringing. This one is pretty standard, right? You're seeing your day-to-day claymores, Hugens, those scimitars, right, alongside with Cerberuses. So Serbs on the right side from both the Imperium and the RC, PIBC, RMC. We got to really find a good name for that block right there.
Them guys. It's those guys right now.
Those guys. Let's put it that way. It's those guys. And then on the left side, we're seeing a lot of scimitar kills, especially right from Test and Fireco, and of course they brought Munings. Where this is just me, or I think I've seen a lot of times that just XX just love their Munin doctrine and then just bring them like every time, basically.
And looking at both of these battle reports, granted they're Munin heavy, but boy, there's a lot of Munin losses too. And it does look like they cut through the Logi pretty hard here. The Scimitars take a frickin' beating.
Yeah. So I guess our last battle report of the day happened in Impasse. So that's the one that I was gonna talk about. And I linked it in the channel. So that one actually happened right in the staging system of Red Alliance in Impasse in 6.8 FT.
I'll have that pulled up in a moment.
Yeah, so that's in a staging system. Both sides basically came in. I was actually there, I think, on it was a Sunday, I think. Yeah, it was on Sunday, and a lot of people came in right there. Local spike up to, I think, 700, 800-ish, as you can see on the battle report. This is a fight that literally happened during our Sunday show. I think I just mentioned it on Sunday show, and then here some more details. So basically, both side, the Fireco side and the RMC side dropped supers. This was over anchoring timer of Astra that Fireco dropped in Red Alliance space, and it was basically anchoring timer. It just came out of anchoring, and then people were basically shooting at it. The structure, when we're shooting the structure, it was not really contested, but how the fight happened was when we were trying to gate our way home, or I think there was another objective that we're going to, and then when we were getting to that place, we just took a gate and then see fire dropped their dreads, they have the sub capitals on grid, and then we know, we gotta fight it out, and that's where the fight happened. So on the left side, again, you see the expat alliances, Test, Fireco, and people like that. We're not seeing really a lot of Horde or PL or the Panthem appearances in this region of space too often. At least it's not as often as Test, right? And then in the middle is the Red Alliance side, right, with the RMC side. It's the Red Alliance side or the RMC side, and on the very right, that's the RC side, I think. I don't know why the battle person, or I think it makes sense, in this way that RC sends on people. So basically, we can combine the team B and the team C together, and that makes more sense. I mean, it's not that much of a difference in terms of ISK loss, but as we can see in the ISK loss, right, in the middle, RMC lost a lot more ISK than the Fireco side. So overall, it's like about 35, 36 bill to about 50 bill. So overall, this battle came out as a very, very heavy battle in terms of ISK lost. It's over about 80 billion ISK.
Another thing that I find quite interesting about that is location. 68 FT is like the central hub of Impasse right here, because that controls pretty much going everywhere in Impasse. So that's definitely a strategic location. There's usually a keep star in there. I don't know if there is now or not.
I mean, it's a capital system of Red Alliance if you check the map. So I would assume some sort of important structures will be in place in the system. Yeah, so that's another big battle. It's caps committed on grid and things like that. Anything to say about this segment, Nick?
Oh, nothing else I can think of. I used to live there in Impasse, so I kind of like that area. It's fun seeing it you know, some hooking and jabbing going on over there for a change.
Yeah. And we're going to move our reporting camera up in the north. So if you remember last Wednesday, it's still on a Wednesday show, we mentioned that in North, in MTech in Tribute, that there was a Keepstar that used to belong to NSH, but when NSH was changing hands, when they were joining Winterco, uh, that Keepstar had some trouble when it was changing, right? So um, basically it got to snuff. Well, it was, I think, over some ACL problems. So that's the access list problems. And last we were talking about that Keepstar there was put into its armor timer. So basically, Frat dropped another Keepstar right on the same grid basically as the old NSH Keepstar, and then when it was anchoring, Frat basically dropped their super fleet, right? So there are Titans and some super carriers on the same grid, about 300 off the NSH Keepstar, and then started shooting it, and that got to put armor timer. But when the armor timer came out, there was no fight at all. Nobody brought any important big fleets there because that Keepstar there changed hands. So it got back to Fraternity or got back to Winterco. So right now, that Keepstar that used to belong to NSH successfully transferred to Winterco, despite some small problems along the way in the last week.
Yeah, and that once again, that location there at MTACO, if you look right south of that, is the Tazy Gate, right into Lone Trek, and once you're there, and that's a popular location because you can jump from Jita right into MTACO. So I mean, there's it's a nice way in and out. So good spot. It's a good spot.
Yeah, and like Fran, I think got 2 Keepstars right now in that location. We're gonna see what they're gonna do with those 2. Are they gonna anchor one, or they're gonna keep 2? It'll be interesting to see. But that's our. I guess it's still we did a round of report right from south to the north, and that's basically our war update for this week or for this Wednesday's show. So we're gonna move on to some game news. So yeah, we're gonna start off with the stream streamlining early skill plans. So this one is basically a rename of the career agents. So career agents is for a lot of people, I think a lot of veteran players who don't remember this, career agent is the agents that you go to first, right? So before any missions, before you do anything, it is still now highly suggested that you do those career agents before you go on to explore by yourself. So they will teach you some very basic stuff about PvE, PvP, exploring, mining, like being an industrialist or just trading in general, right? So there was a new naming system that was put in alongside with the EVE Academy. So PvE is called Enforcer, PvP is called Soldier of Fortune, Explorer is called Explorer, and Industrialist industry was like the next section, right? So in order for the new players to not get lost in the process, right? They're saying, oh, why is it called military? Why is it called advanced military in the game? And then it's called Soldier of Fortune here, right? It's kind of confusing. CCP decided to change it altogether and to make it all streamlined. So right now we have Enforcer, which was the military. So there used to be a military career agent, and now they're called Enforcer. And the next one we have is Soldier of Fortune. That used to be the advanced military. That one is actually military and advanced military, or the ones that give people the most headaches. Like, why there are 2? Are they related in some way, or are they just differently talking about different aspects? But now we have a clear answer. The Enforcer is PvE, and the Soldier of Fortune is PvP. Explorer didn't change. Industrialist producer is the industry, or that was the industry, and the industrialist entrepreneur was the business one. So we have
I like I do like that because they are both industrialist related to industry. Whereas the producer, can start all the way down with the resource gatherer all the way through the producer, and the entrepreneur, buying and selling is like the end state. It's the far end of that same chain. So I like the fact that they have them still listed as industrialists, just at different ends of the scope.
Yep. And also, I would say Enforcer and Soldier of Fortune, I would say just add, let's say, bracket and then PvE or PvP. I think it's somewhat for people for at least for new bros, easier to understand what this actually means. Yeah. So also with that, in addition to rename of the agents, each career agent will offer a new skill plan pulling from the initial skills available for new capsule years. So skill plan was something that's relatively new compared to other things in the game, and CCP is adding the skill plan to those career agents. So basically now a new player will after they finish the career agents or during the talking portion, when they're talking to those career agents, they will get a skill plan that will be describing their player style, right? So we have the 5, and then I guess this is a very good thing for new players to have an idea of what they should be training instead of just training random skills, right? Just pulling, I like the name of that one. Oh, why not train that one, right? It's like have to be smart and be strategic about the skill plans.
Yeah, and this is going to make it, like they mentioned, for the especially the newer folk, that they aren't going to flounder around training, a month's worth of training in stuff that I don't think I've used in 7 years. So, yeah. So this is a good step, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. So with that, a lot of times it's how long it's going to take you to realize, this is what I don't do, or this is the right skill for me, right? A lot of times before that, you're just kind of training like whatever you want to. And that sometimes can lead to, I wouldn't say wasted, but not the best spot to put your skill points.
Yeah, and one other thing on that, these are recommended skill plans. They're going to get you your foot in the door so that you're not going to mess up right at the beginning and have like skill regret, for lack of a better term. But at the same time, I'm going to say, especially if you're a newer player, talk to your court mates. They are going to have a wealth of information, because if they've played a little longer, they've gone down the wrong path. So, engage them in some conversation. So, that's part of what EVE is, still a social game, no matter how you slice it. So, the good info out there with a lot of your court mates.
Yeah, with that, joining a corp is definitely more helpful, I would say, rather than just looking at those a lot of the tutorials online. Sometimes they can be outdated, or the guy explaining it may not be the best at explaining it, or may not have the most recent information. So there'll be some misunderstandings for new players. The best thing would just basically ask your corp mates if you're in a player corp, and to ask them, or you just even an NPC corp, ask people around. They will give you, sometimes, a lot of times, they'll give you the right answer, that what you're looking for. Yeah. With that, we have our next one, which is improving. We're gonna leave this one to last. It's a big one. We're gonna talk about improving the foundation. So, Nick, I think you understand some about the Linux client and stuff like that. Do you want to explain it?
Yeah, give me a half a second here. But yeah, basically what's going on is what's called improving the foundation. They released out a little earlier today. Bottom line, phasing out DirectX 9 support for EVE Online. That's a 19-year-old product, supported by Windows 98, and it was great in its day. But the limitations on it, as we're now native on 11 and 12, or 11 definitely, 12 may be coming shortly, they just can't keep back supporting it. There is some question on some of the Linux users, but I'm not a Linux guy to where I could speak eloquently or intelligently about that. But the few I have talked to, there might be some issues with them. But as I mentioned, continuing to support it is big development cost and time. That's trying to keep backward compatible to, some really old stuff. Okay, and they're looking at, what is this? Less than 2% of the players are limited to using that from what they can tell right now. And how they can tell that is on your launcher. Actually, if you're in game, you can hit Control F and it brings up your frame rates. And at the bottom left of that corner will tell you what your graphic client is. So if you don't have to run it, turn that off. And that's in your game client settings. So when you hit the launcher in the upper right corner, the gear, drop it down, go to the game client settings, and then, if you don't have to be in DirectX 9, don't be, because that is going to end. That is kind of the big one. If you have to use it, they do say, reach out to the customer support under technical so they can identify the reasons why you can't. They do bring up, minimum system requirements that they're looking at here in the very, very near future. Oh, sorry, I skipped over this part here. Minimum on the video card side. GeForce 420s and AMDs will require Radeon 5450 or better. And those are older also. So, that's 10-year-old cards in most cases. Minimum system requirements, they go over again. I won't bore you by reading it all. Y'all can read probably better than I can. If you do have that, like I mentioned, if you do have that really old GPU, here's where you can find out which one you're running. Pull up your FPS monitor with the Control F option, and there it is. If you're a Mac user, ignore this warning altogether because that uses the Metal and not the DirectX for graphic client support. I think that's the longest. I think that's the longest I've talked at one time ever.
Well, it's great. I don't
yes. Know. Can I link that article?
Yep. So that's the link going to the Twitch chat about this article, so people can look at the stats by themselves and to determine, let's say, if their device still supports still supports the EVE client or not. It's very technical dev blog, or it's just a short news blog, but I think it's very important for those people who are actually affected by this change.
But okay, as it says here, next step, this takes effect 11 January 22. So we're only talking, 45 days from now, roughly, so that they're not going to have a DirectX 9 capable client. So if you need a slightly new or old graphics card, Santa might help you out. I don't know.
There we go. It's 45 days around that. It's not too little time, but it's not too much time either. So if you need to change something, do it right now. I would say do it before it gets too late. Okay, and then we're going to move on to our last one, last blog that we have out. That is the Black Friday sale. What's a Black Friday events? There will be something, a lot of things actually related to this Black Friday. So first thing we can look at the art background there, right? We're seeing the Roco, the Nightmare, all the other ships. Very exciting. So first of all, we have up to 25% off on Plex. So right now you can purchase Plex or purchase Plex packages in EVE Store, Epic Game Stores, and Steam stores. So in terms of the difference, the Epic Game Stores and the Steam Store is exactly the same, right? Up to 25% discount in selected Plex packages. But what's different here is in the Eve store. So you're not only gonna get that 25% discount on the select Plex packages, but you'll also get free skins with those selected items in Eve store. So they're in some ways, right, encourage you to purchase it in Eve store, and where we can see free skins. So there potentially be more than one, and I don't think we've heard anywhere like what exactly those skins gonna be. So maybe it's just a surprise, right?
I'm reading down on that just a little bit, and I'm saying, I'm looking at this, saying all stores feature generous discounts on a variety of packages containing anywhere from 110 to 15,400 Plex. All right, that's probably beat my credit card up pretty hard, but for those of you that want that many or need that many, hey, it's possible.
Yeah, and so it says it's gonna include free copper lightning skins. So I think that's the name of those skins. But we don't know which ships I think exactly they're gonna be on.
I haven't seen anything on that. I'm curious.
Is that like a new skin completely, or have we seen this series of skins before?
I don't recall the name. I don't recall seeing that name before. If anybody in chat has, let me know.
Yeah, like I'm seeing those skins at the top of when we've seen the art. I was like, I don't think I've seen those skins before, and that's a new name too. So I'm thinking maybe CCP is actually doing like a new line of skins just for maybe Black Fridays in the future, right? I mean, if you go top, right, the theme is right, the ships have generally like a dark shades to it, right, very black, and maybe that's the way to go. Who knows?
Yeah, for the folks watching on the stream, not just listening, excuse my scrolling up and down. I was looking to see if I missed a link to the skins, but evidently not. I'm not a big skin guy, but this sounds copper lightning skin. It's like, I'm kind of digging that.
Yeah, so people are saying it is on TQ. It's on the Sharon, the Sunnable, Dracovac, Kiki, Nightmare, Roko, and Vecmac. Yeah, so if you go over to the Asteroid stream right now, well, not right now, but he showed it, I think, on his ones, the Roko ones.
Yeah. Val mentions that in the chat. Ash showed the Rourke one, black, copper and black. Oh man, I need to find a link now.
See, all right, they just nerfed the Roko and they're putting skin out for the Rokos. I don't know how the Roko pile is gonna feel about that.
I don't know if it's potentially. Is that possibly just the Rourke, or is it maybe for the ore ships, the command ships? You never know.
It's a mix of those. It's a mix of those. I just read out the names, I think. So there are a bunch of them. The Sharon, Cinnable, Dracovac, all those stuff that I mentioned. So with that, not only if you purchase those Plexes or you spend money on those Plex packages, that you get extra rewards, but if you just log in from the 25th, which is tomorrow, if you watch this stream right now, until the 30th of November, you will get free rewards. So the rewards for pilots will focus on some combat boosters, and Omega players will get a combination of boosters and some skill points as well. So you only need to log in 4 out of 5 days, so that gives you 1 day of the spare time, I think. And so if you don't log in for 1 day, you still get all 4 of them. But if you don't log in for 2, you may not get the last one. We're 100% not going to get the last one.
All right. I missed that earlier. That's kind of cool. I didn't even know that was coming up.
Yeah, I don't know if this is the first time, but I don't think they often do this kind of login rewards on Black Fridays, or maybe this is just me.
Oh, that starts tomorrow, or depending on your time zone, it'll be after basically it's going to start after the next downtime from right now.
Yeah. So that's 5 days, so lasting 5 days, but it's for rewards. And the last one is the new Eden Store deals. So if you purchase, I think Omega time with your Plex and your MCT, that's the multiple multiple pilot training certificates, you will get free skins as well. But I don't think. I mean, from the look of it, it's the Kiki Mora and the DirectX skins, but we don't know 100% sure yet.
Well, yeah, the saying is you can grab a free skin. When they say you can grab it, then you might have a selection of which one or ones, depending on what you're purchasing. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, well, I'll definitely wait until I think tomorrow is going to come out, right? It's on downtime tomorrow. After downtime tomorrow, you will get the exact detail. People can go into their New Eden store and then check for themselves. For people who just regularly purchase Plex or just rat and then get Plex for their account, just wait until tomorrow, right? And then you will not only get your 30 days or your MCT, but you also get free skins. It's a worthwhile trade.
Yeah, and speaking of downtime, I guess there was a little bit of a hiccup this morning where they had to do a second quick downtime restart. Evidently, a lot of Omegas were coming on as alphas after the downtime, so that caused a second restart that I'm aware of. That's the only one I know of. There could have been a second one after that, but that seemed to have gotten cleared up rather quickly. There was a little bit of kerfluffle going on in the TIS chat on Discord about it, but it seemed to die down rather rapidly because I think it got fixed up pretty quickly.
Yeah. Other than that, do you have anything else you want to say, Nick?
No. I wish Val had a link to the to Ash's. If anybody's got any scram, I'm dying of curiosity on what those skins look like. I'm gonna have to do some hunting around, see if I can't find them. But other than that, no, I really don't have anything. I know it's kind of a short day, but tomorrow, if you're North American, specifically in the United States, happy Thanksgiving. I think the Canadians already had theirs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, happy happy Turkey Day, and hopefully you hang out with some family and get a break.
Yeah, I mean, I think people are just waiting for tomorrow's event, right? It's really cool to see those sales and to see those free skins for the new lines of skins that's going to come out. And again, Black Friday, I think, is one of the two big sales that CCP going to do. One is this one, and I think Boxing Day, I think around Christmas time, they're going to do another sale usually. I think this is one of the most lucrative ones that you can get. So if you really decided I'm going to put my money down and then play EVE for another year, this is a good time to really buy those Omega times and those plexes.
All right. Hey, and thanks to Crimson Coder and Galanon that you just reminded us all that we can go to your character sheet, go to the skins tab and search for the copper, and you'll be able to find Copper Lightning in there and have a look at them, which is what I'm going to do immediately after we're done.
Nice. Well, not to keep you waiting for too long. So, any last words before we get off?
Nah, I'm good, man.
Okay, well, today is Wednesday, November 24th. Also your host, Shen, alongside Nick Bison. Good night.
All right. If you want, stand by. I might be sending you to raid somebody.